It seems like recently the image of the alpha male has been misunderstood. Literally, it's supposed to be someone who's the definition of the perfect man, the best version of themselves. Now, many people out there would have you believe that the best version of you is someone who's uptight and self-centered, but that's not accurate. The best version of you, the alpha male, is someone who values relationships. And what better way to value those relationships than maintaining healthy boundaries? So here are the 10 reasons why you need to maintain healthy boundaries in your relationships. And make sure you hit that subscribe button for more info. Number 10. Value yourself, your time, and your energy. Setting up ground rules in your relationship might seem like you're already expecting it to fail, but that's just what we've been led to believe. You probably don't know how to communicate your boundaries in a respectful way, and it comes off as them trying to either be too controlling or too disengaged. Every relationship needs to start with two people setting up some ground rules. These rules will be unique to you and your partner and what your long-term goals look like. Maybe it's something like date nights every Saturday, not forcing each other to meet the other's family, respecting work meetings, and anything of that sort. Basically, by telling your partner that you have some rules you'd like to establish from day one, you're inadvertently showing them that you value yourself and them too. You're valuing yourself because you know what you like and what you're comfortable with. And you're valuing them by showing them that you trust them and you want them to go into this relationship knowing everything there is about you. This way, there won't be any surprises down the road. Number 9. Honesty and commitment. One of the biggest reasons why you need to establish and then maintain healthy boundaries in a relationship is because they set the framework for an honest and committed relationship. Think about it like this. Wouldn't you rather know what your partner's likes and dislikes are, what they're comfortable with, and what gives them the ick, rather than having to guess it at every step of the way? Honesty is the key to keeping any relationship alive, and the most honest thing you can do for your partner is to reveal your boundaries to them. They shouldn't have to guess anything. That just sets the relationship up for failure. If you make your partner guess your next move or how you might be feeling after anything they do, you're only hurting yourself. People don't have an inbuilt crystal ball. You need to communicate openly with them, especially when in a relationship. Number 8. Long-term goals. If you're in a relationship where you're in for the long haul, then you need to establish your boundaries from day one. These could range from something as simple as wanting shoes on or off the rug to having kids down the line. These are things that both of you need to talk about, communicate, and then reach a conclusion. You wouldn't want to have to spend years with someone only to realize down the line that they don't value the same things as you do. This is why establishing boundaries via open communication is something you need to do on day one. Maybe the relationship goes further because you both share the same values. Or maybe it ends right then and there because you realize you two are completely different people. In either case, it's important to be able to communicate everything before things get messy and complicated. Number 7. Keeping things equitable. While some people would tell you that a relationship needs to be 50-50, we're here to tell you that that's not the case all the time. Sure, in a perfect world, you'd both be giving it your all, and the energy from your partner would match yours. But sometimes things aren't 50-50, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you're overstimulated, or you've had a bad day at work. Maybe you're going through some personal struggles, or whatever the case may be. In that case, it'd be unfair for your partner to demand 50% from you or ask you to match their energy. Again, this is why it's important to establish your boundaries with your partner from day one. They need to understand that there are days when you're giving them your all and days when you're not. Likewise, you need to understand that about them too. So, relationships aren't meant to be equal as they're meant to be equitable. Number 6. Empathizing with your partner. So far, we've talked about how maintaining boundaries in a relationship could be beneficial for you. But what about your partner? The thing is, by establishing your boundaries and communicating about them in an open and honest way, you're doing them a pretty big favor. In a world where most people are scared of honesty and reliability in a relationship, you've told them everything they need to be aware of from the get-go. Obviously, this opens up the way for them to communicate those same feelings and tell you what their boundaries are too. If you want your boundaries to be respected and appreciated, you need to extend the same courtesy to your partner. Number 5. Respecting your partner's challenges. Relationships are meant to be a two-way street, and you need to realize that your partner can have good days and bad days too. One of the biggest upsides to establishing boundaries is that you create a sense of comfort in your relationship where both of you are empathetic to what the other is feeling. For example, your partner could establish some boundaries on things that can or cannot be talked about. It might not be something you understand at that moment, but you'll soon realize that they have their reasons. Also, when you're able to communicate your boundaries with them, you open the floor for them to do the same. It creates trust in the relationship, and that trust goes a long, long way. Number 4. Showing integrity and upholding morals. Many people are too afraid to tell their partner what they're comfortable with and what they're not with. That might be due to the fact that we've created this whole stigma around being open and honest with each other. We feel like if we're ever too honest, then the other person would just up and leave. That might be true, but if the other person decides to leave after you've communicated your boundaries with them and told them what's a deal breaker and what's not, then maybe they just weren't the right person for you. You need to respect yourself enough to respect what works for you and what doesn't. Some relationships just don't work. By being upfront and realistic with your partner about what's flexible and what's not, you're showing them that you're a man of integrity and willing to stand up for what you think is fair. That's the sort of guy this world needs more of. Number 3. Keeping things just between the two of you. The boundary that you need to establish in addition to your personal boundaries when entering a relationship is that everything stays between the two of you. You'd be surprised to see that people are willing to be a lot more flexible with their boundaries when other people surround them. The truth is, however, is that they can't just dictate how other people react to them, especially when they're one-time interactions. If your partner is being upfront and honest about their boundaries with you and you're doing the same, then the best thing you could do is keep things between the two of you. This is because not only won't other people understand these boundaries, but they'll also try to intervene in a system that's already in place in your relationship, and a system that works best for the two of you. Telling more and more people about what you think is good for you, your partner, and the relationship is just opening the door for trouble to walk right in. Number 2. Setting an example for everyone, even your future self. So far, we've talked about how it's important to establish and uphold your boundaries to make a relationship last. However, it's important to remember that sometimes relationships just don't end up working, even though you've talked through every single one of your boundaries, and it seemed like the other person understood them. Sometimes, a little while down the line, your partner thinks they can bend the rules a little bit, or that after all this time, maybe you learn to be more flexible with your boundaries. The truth is that some people, even maybe you, have boundaries that other people don't fully understand. This, however, doesn't mean that they're not valid and that you should change them just because other people don't get them. The most important part about establishing your boundaries is to uphold them, even when it seems like your partner's trying to work around them. Why? Not only are these the boundaries you were clear and upfront about since day one, but also because your partner wanting to discard them shows that the relationship has run its course. It's time to pack up and leave. This might sound harsh, but trust us, you need to set an example for everyone, especially your future self, that you won't take this behavior. Number 1. Becoming a better you. At the end of the day, the best thing to come out of being expressive about your boundaries and maintaining them while in a relationship is that you open up space to become a better version of yourself. Knowing that you've communicated your boundaries to the person you're supposed to trust the most allows you the mental space to focus on other ways to improve yourself. Someone who respects your boundaries would also help you grow as a person, focus on your goals, and cheer you every step of the way. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment down some of the boundaries you think are important to set up in a relationship.